Well, good evening to you all. Hope you're all doing well. Here we are again. This is week 6, I think, live streams. But here we go. Hopefully you can hear me all good. I'll just wait for a few of you to come on. That would be wonderful. But make sure everything's all working. You can hear me okay. Hopefully guitar and everything's going to be in balance tonight, and we're going to have no problems. Would be wonderful. But if anyone is hearing this, just give me a quick nod just to let me know you can hear things all good and it's not stuttering, etc., as we had the other nights. That would be wonderful. But anyone at all. I'm really not too fussed who it is. But it certainly all seems to be working okay this end. I can hear everything and see everything, so I'm hoping you can also see and hear everything as well. But I'll tell you what, I'll just start playing a song and then we'll go from there. Evening, Matthew, how are you doing? Right, yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll start on that one. There we go, and a very good evening to you all. I hope you're all doing well. Who we got on tonight? Matthew, evening. Martin, Karen, Michael, Chris, Keith, Tom, Jim. Wow, it's great to see so many of you on tonight. Well, we've got 47 so far, which is absolutely wonderful. So I hope you can hear me all good. I had a few problems with the mic last time. I kept this is a dynamic microphone, so it only picks me up when I'm literally right in front of it here. If I move slightly to the side, you lose it, and if I move slightly to there, it loses it, which is really annoying. But so hopefully, I hope you can hear me all good. I've turned everything up, and a few people mentioned that you couldn't hear my voice last time, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But but there we go. Right. So of course that was a bit of Riders in the Sky there, and we might as well go straight into this great song. This is Shindig. A little bit of Shindig there. Good evening, Kathy. Hope you're doing well. Dave, Mandy, lovely to hear from you. Graham, no, I've only done 2 so far, so you haven't missed too much there. But hope you can hear me all good. Hope it's all in balance. If there are any problems, just give me a little comment. But if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. But excellent. I'm so glad you can hear me. Seems like everything's actually working for a change. Technology has been a bit of a pain this last couple of weeks, but absolutely. But perfect balance, wonderful. It's good to hear. Yeah, like in the new camera setup as well. You can hopefully see things a little bit nicer. My face is a little bit smoother, not quite as uglier, but. But here we go. Right, let's do. This is Tuesday night at the Reynolds household. No, it ain't. Yes, it is. That's the one. little bit of Saturday night at the Duck Pond, or Tuesday night as the Reynolds household as it's rapidly become. But right, got a few questions here, so let's grab those. Yes, I am using the, this is my Squire Simon Neil Strat, and that goes into a Zoom G3X, and then that goes into the Boss Katana, and then from the Boss Katana that goes into my little mixer, which then goes through the computer and everything. So what you're hearing is a combination of all three, really. I did try I was going to dig out my Sunburst Strat, which you might be able to see behind me, but it's a little bit too bright. So rather than change any settings or anything, I thought I'd leave it and just go back to the old faithful. But I always know where I stand with this guitar. But there we go. Right. Yes, so hopefully that answers all your questions. The Zoom G3X with the Hall's Echo patches and a Boss Katana, and this Strat. Not really a lot to it. Thankfully, it's nice and straightforward. But anyway, this is Shadoogie. A little bit of Shadoogie there, wonderful song. But, right, I'm going to do this next song as a special dedication to two people who've been really quite supportive of me on YouTube and Facebook and various other things. That's Martin and Peter Beeforth. Sadly, Linda passed away last week, I believe it was, and they played this next song at the funeral, from what I understand. So I'd like to do this one for you now as a dedication to Linda. This is Midnight. song dedicated to Linda there. But right, Keith, yes, the pickups in this Strat are, as far as I know, the original. Whatever they came with. I think they might be Ironstones or Tone Riders, something like that. I actually bought this guitar from a friend on one of the Shadows forums a few years ago. In fact, there's a video on it because when I bought it, the wonderful people at UPS, I think it was, had managed to destroy it. They dropped it on the headstock. It was in a hard case, and they dropped it and snapped the neck. So I had to then get a replacement neck to fit to this one, and thankfully I was lucky to get a Squire Simon Neil Strat neck to replace it. But other than that, as far as I know, I think there's a little bit of going on with the switches to enable one of the other controls to come in or something like that. But I never use any of that. This guitar is always volume right up, tone controls right up, and it's just the switch in between the selector switch for the pickups. So hope that answers all your questions there. But Trouble, how do you set up your backing tracks? Is your tablet plugged into the mixer too? Can you hear the whole setup without headphones? Please give us a tutorial. Absolutely. So yes, everything is now going. I was using it through the computer with the backing tracks and stuff going through the computer, and it was giving mixed results, so it wasn't really working for what I needed. So I picked up a very cheap little mixer, the Behringer Xenix 502 USB, and the backing tracks are on the iPad. They go into a separate input on the mixer, which I can control separate level. I've got the mic into one channel, I've got the guitar going into the other channel, and then I can hear everything before it then hits the computer. So hopefully what you're hearing, pretty much what I'm hearing, which means hopefully everything's in nice sort of balance. But yes, and then other than that, I've got a pair of Mackie CR3 studio monitors set up on the desk just in front of me. But living in a flat, I can't use them too often. So it's the trusty headphones, and these are Shure SRH840. So hope that answers all your questions. Right, so we've got 78 people watching at the moment. This is wonderful. Getting a lot of messages come through on my phone as well. I have no idea who that is, but I'll read them later. Right, what should we do? Let's do, someone asked, yeah, let's do this one. This one is dedicated to anyone who had a holiday plan this year. I think you know what it's going to be. little bit of a summer holiday there for you. But hope you enjoyed that. Right, what do we got? What strings do I use? Karen, yes, absolutely. This is currently strung with 11 to 49s. And I think they are... Yes, these are elixirs. I normally use D'Addario's or Ernie Ball, pretty much whatever I can find in the guitar shops. I don't like paying a lot of money for strings. I'm a little bit tight in that sense, but I do change strings quite a lot. I normally change strings every couple of weeks, especially if we're gigging regularly. It does get done quite a lot. But hope that answers your question. Right, Bougainvillea. Do you know what? I was quite sad actually. That Bougainvillea. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I really enjoyed playing that song, but the gentleman that wrote that song actually heard my version and said he didn't like it. It was quite different to how he played it. So I might have to revisit that one at some point and do it properly. But right. Let's have a look. God, we've got suggestions coming in left, right and centre. Someone's asked for Atlantis, so being as the patch is the next one in the set, I'll do that one for you. This is a beautiful song. I love this one. Bit of Atlantis. Lost in the middle of that one, but never mind. Beautiful song. Jeffrey, how long do I practice for? Not enough, as you can probably tell with the mistakes I make. But no, to be honest, these live streams at the moment is pretty much when I'm mainly playing. Whoops. And yes, if I'm doing a video or something like that, then I'll, obviously I'll practice a little bit to record that. But no, it's mostly these live streams that I actually play, and it just gives me a chance to just go through a lot of songs that I'd otherwise forget. So I hope you're enjoying that. Great load of suggestions coming in. Yes, we did touch 100 at some point. Little Wing, wow, that's a great track. I would love to be able to play that for you, but I can't play that, unfortunately. But who are we going in tonight? Greetings from Ireland, wow. Nice mixture of people in tonight. It's wonderful. Yes, I'll tell you what, I'll do this one if I can remember it. I played it the other night, and it's been a long time since I actually played this song, but this is Albatross. Just food. This is MS food. There we go. A little bit of Albatross there. Lovely song. But right, take care, Karen. You look after yourself and stay safe. But, Victor, friends, I'm not sure what song that is. Not. Perhaps you can send me a link to which one you're referring to there, and I'll see if I can do it for next time. But I hope that helps. But, sounds like the sound is all working really, really good, so that's always a positive. Right, so did anyone see the Shadows documentary the other night? By any chance? Hopefully a few of you saw it. I put it up on YouTube. I thought it was quite good. I thought it was a little bit rushed in some places, like the last 30 years. We suddenly went from the event in 1989, I think, or 88, straight up to 2009, and nothing in between. You know, Hank's solo tours and various other things we seem to have completely ignored. But I thought it was good overall, apart from the lack of suggestion and mention of a lot of the bass players. Obviously, Cliff Hall and Warren Bennett and all those other people that the Shadows couldn't have done what they did without. But other than that, it was good to see the Shadows back on television again, and it's hopefully regenerated a bit of interest in them as well. So that's always good. Right, I'm now going to play a song because they basically didn't give much mention to the late great Jet Harris. I'm going to do my own tribute to Jet Harris now for you, just as soon as I find the patch I'm looking for. I think it's that one. But little bit of Jet and Tony for this one, and this is Diamonds. Of a tribute to the late great Mr. Jet Harris, and I only ever saw him once, unfortunately. But very, very funny man, and I've been very fortunate to play a couple of his guitars, and I'm sure some of you saw the videos that I did. But yes, it was good of. He was a very interesting character. So he's. I'll never forget his Marty Wilde appearance on the DVD where he came on and said, "Yes, I bet you all thought I was dead, didn't you?" or something along those lines. And he had a very dry sense of humour, but fantastic musician. And of course, he was a key part of the Shadows and creating what they became. So there we go. Right, what else we got? James, no, I don't think the Shadows will ever tour again. I think they're. I think that's. You know, there may be the one-off appearance, but I very much doubt that these days. I think it's just unfortunate that their ages and stuff. I think they're both Hank and Bruce are nearly 80. I think Brian Bennett's not far behind. So Hank's quite happy doing his little gypsy jazz local gigs and stuff like that. So. I think it would be unfair to expect any sort of tour and stuff off them. But it's a shame. But they've given us enough, I think, over the years, and there's no denying the 50th anniversary concerts was the best of the best. But there we go. What else we got here? Take care, Martin. Look after yourself. No, I've not tried a compressor at all, to be honest. Someone mentioned this last week. I've yet to try a compressor. I must do. There's a bit trying to smooth out some of the lines and stuff, but to be honest, it's just another thing to go wrong most of the time. And especially with a lot of this gear, so much of it goes wrong, especially with the vintage stuff. I like to try and keep my setup as nice and simple as possible, and so if anything does break, I can replace it fairly easy and have no problems. But there we go. What else we got? How big of a step forward is the Zoom G3X compared to the 508? The 508 was a great unit, Michael. I had one of those in my very, very early days of playing, and I'd probably still have it now if it didn't break. The G3X, the patches are marginally better, probably, but to me, it's the Zoom just gives me more flexibility. It's got the volume pedal built in. It's got a tuner, which I think the 508 had as well. And it's also got USB out, so I can run it straight into the computer for recording if I wanted to. It just gives me a lot more options, and I can do other things. And yes, it's just enables things a little bit better for my liking. But what else we got? Why did the shadows get taken out of the event video? That's a great question, Michael. Do you know what? I grew up watching the event. In fact, the event was probably my first main introduction to Cliff and the Shadows in any sort of... I remember watching that with my dear old dad, bless him. It was a great concert, great series of concerts, and from what I understand, there was a issue over the Shadows getting their royalties from the video or DVD of that performance. So I think there was something like 8 tracks, someone on the Shadows forum said recently, which is a shame because it looked like it was a really, really good show, but for the Shadows section. But I think the appearance with Aswad was also cut from the original video, although I think it made it onto the DVD in later years. But there we go. What else we got? Yes, I hope I've answered a lot of your questions there. I better play some music. All of those who came to listen to music will probably be getting a bit bored of my dreary voice. So I apologise in advance. But, right, what should we do? Let's have a quick look, scroll through the list. Yes, let's do a bit of Heartbeat. But there we go, fabulous. Bit of Heartbeat. Always enjoyed that song. Remember the appearance. I think Hank was on the GMTV when that album first came out. And I think the appearance is actually on YouTube somewhere. And I must admit, I really liked that period. That was the period I was brought up on primarily when Hank was doing his solo tours and things. So yes, I agree. Who made the comments? Michael. Yes, Hank's sound for me from the late 80s probably to the 90s, late 90s. I think I saw Hank in 1997. Of course, we had Hank play Cliff. Hank plays Holly. Hank plays live, all of those sort of things. And yes, for me, that was a wonderful period. That was the period I grew up on. And yes, I really enjoyed his later sound. Primarily due to I think it was the Mesa Boogie amplifiers he was using in the 80s. Certainly the Live at Liverpool album show that they did. He was using a Mesa Boogie with Roland RE301 Echo units. But it just, I really liked it. I thought it was a very nice sound. But a lot of people hate it. A lot of people prefer the vintage period. But I suppose it depends what you grew up on, really. But right, I've had a few requests for this one, so I better play it, I suppose. This is Wonderful Land. Bit of Wonderful Land. I love that song. Beautiful, beautiful song. But right, some of you may have seen, I think I mentioned this last week, but there is a little link in the description below if you would like to make a donation. If you do enjoy these and would like to make a donation, it's all going towards St Francis Hospice. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. I really do appreciate it. You don't have to donate, of course. It's entirely optional, but it would, really help. A lot of the charities and hospices and stuff are really struggling at the moment with everything going on. So my little contribution there. But right, I'm going to do this next song now. This was this week's upload, and there's a really special reason why I did this upload. My sister-in-law sadly passed. Sorry, my sister-in-law's brother sadly passed away last week of dreaded coronavirus or COVID-19. and it brought everything a little bit home, really, of everything that's going on. And so he was a very big Beatles fan, and I'd like to play this and dedicate this to Lee. This is In My Life. Memory of Lee Joseph. I hope you enjoyed that. Right, let's answer some questions. Les, I've not yet tabbed out Albatross because I've only just started recently playing it again, but I could probably arrange that if you're interested. Colin, no, the backing tracks, unless they're ones I've created myself, then no, I don't sell them. If you check in the description underneath a lot of the songs, though, I do say where the backing track came from. A lot of them are on YouTube and various other likes. You can get them from karaoke version. If they're Shadows and others specific, then they'll have come from the Shadows Workout albums or You Be Hank or something like that, which are available at leosden.co.uk if anyone's interested. But no, Paul, I haven't played Wicked Game for a long time. It's a great track, and I really should. But I'll try and add that to the set list at some point. Matthew, yes, the tab for In My Life is available on my website, www.stevereynolds.co.uk. But there we go. Hope you enjoy that. Right, let's do... What should we do? Let's do Kon-Tiki. goes on and on and on and on. It's great, great fun. Do you know, I remember the first time I heard the Shadow. I think it was the Savage. I think the Savage Kontiki. To me, they're the test of any Echo machine. If you play the ending of Kontiki or Savage and you get that, you know, that tail off of the Echo, you know it's whether it's any good or not. But right, this one is a great track again, and yes, I'm going to do this one something a little bit different. But so as you know, some of the tracks I've done over the last X amount of years, not necessarily Shadows tracks. They're great, just great tracks that I thought worked as instrumentals. And this one, dedicated to anyone called Carol. Oh, Carol, I am but a fool. Darling, I love you, though you treat me cruel. You've hurt me, and you made me cry. But if you leave me, I will surely die. Hope you enjoyed that one. That's oh, where have we gone? There we are. You still there? Excellent. Les, no, Dreams is going to be done. I'm going to try and record that this week and get that done for you. It's a great track. I've been listening to that. Yes, I might as well do it, mightn't I, while we're in the mood. These two songs seem to... Paul, is your whammy bar closer to the strings than the standard one? I don't know, to be honest. It is compared to some of the guitars I've got, but most of them tend to be similar. I don't know if you can see that too well, but let me see if I can zoom it in a bit. Without going too out of focus. Can you see that? Hopefully. So it's not a million miles away. Where's the camera? It's mainly the way the arm bends up. There we go. Hopefully I'm back in focus again. That'd be wonderful. But right, yes, I'm going to do this next song because it follows nicely on from Oh Carol. Have we got anyone in tonight watching called Diana by any chance? Because if we have, this is perfect. And if we haven't, then it's not quite so perfect. little bit of Paul Anka there. That's what we got. Absolutely. It's, Mandy, I will try and do that song for you, I promise. I'll try and learn that at some point, because I must admit I do like that song myself anyway. But I suppose we should have a debate about which was the better version, Barry Manilow or Westlife. But yes, you can indeed get the Easy Mute Tremolo Arm, I think, from VML, but I think they're quite expensive, really, for what they are. But they do the job quite well. I've had a couple. But yes, it really depends. Do you know what, Paul? It's really strange, because I've got guitars that have got exactly the same tremolo system on. You know, either the 2-post or the 6-post, and every single one of them, the arm is slightly different. So I don't know what the factory was like or what it was up to at the time or what, but every single one of them is very different. One sits angles slightly up, one angles slightly down, one's slightly over to there, and it's just yes, it's a little bit of a strange one, but you can always, I suppose, bend them and stuff. But when the guitar's set up, a lot of the time they tend to work quite nicely. But Les, I would use the patch. I use the patch, to be honest, for Don't Cry For Me Argentina. I tend to use that for pretty much everything that isn't a dedicated Shadow song, because I think it just gives a nice airy ambience sort of sound, and just seems to work. But while we're on the subject about that, let's have a look. Oh, I'll tell you what, Kev. I'll do that. I'll do that in just a moment for you. But I will do this one first. Where's it gone? There it is. wonderful song. But right, where have we gone? Yes, absolutely, Keith. Happy birthday! I hope you've had a lovely day, as nice as you can possibly have it at the moment. Hope you ate lots of cake and had a couple of shandies. But this one's just for you. The song that started it all off, and it still sounds so fresh and wonderful to this day. But right, what shall we do next? Yes, someone mentioned it earlier on. In fact, I'm going to do this one. Theme for Young Lovers. Do you know, I had a couple of requests for that one, and I know my friend Paul Webb enjoys that one. So yes, I will do that one. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll do it now for you. I must admit, do you know what? Talk about all these patches and things on this Echo unit. I mean, this Echo unit's got pretty much every song you could possibly ever want to play. Do you know, I pretty much only ever use about 2 or 3 patches. Really, it's only the Apache patch I'm not particularly a fan of on the Zoom G3. I tend to use the Argentina patch for that because there's something it does weird. It's the correct patch for it, but it just seems to make a weird sound to the guitar. And I'm not particularly a fan of it, but so I tend to use the Argentina patch for quite a lot. I tend to use the Foot Tapper patch or something like that for a lot of songs. And of course, Wonderful Land and Flinkle Bunt and Atlantis, I suppose, are the only songs that really have a set patch. It's all about. I tend not to be too exacting these days, but you know, sometimes it's nice to just forget about it. I remember the days I used to. I've got some very good friends who are fantastic guitar players, but they spend so long messing around with the equipment and stuff that it takes a very long time to actually play through a set. But anyway, this is Theme for Young Lovers. Young Lovers there for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Yes, do you know what, Keith? I was actually I came across those guitars myself the other day on Guitar, I think it was. It's a new Fender Squire Classic Vibe, Fiesta Red, maple neck and gold hardware. It looks absolutely wonderful, and for an absolute bargain price as well. I think about £350, something like that. I'm actually contemplating adding one to my collection, but I might have to get rid of a couple beforehand though, because I have got far too many. But never mind. What's that age-old saying? You can never have too many. Try telling some other people that. Right. Now then, let's do this one. Right, before I do play this next song, I would just like to just take a moment to thank every single one of you for actually tuning in and watching these videos every week. It is really appreciated. It's given me something to focus on, to concentrate on with everything going on, and I hope you've enjoyed them as much as I've enjoyed doing them. But of course, there's a lot going on out in the world at the moment. It's an interesting time. Very fortunate I am that I can work from home and sit on my laptop all day and doing my job. And but of course, there's a lot of people out there that can't. There's a lot of people that have to go out every day, and of course, there's a lot of people on the front line, looking after all those people. So I'd like to dedicate this next song to them, and this is "You'll Never Walk Alone." Hope you enjoyed that. It's a beautiful song. Les, I have no idea how the. I'm assuming the classic vibe 50s Strat is probably, apart from the obviously the rosewood board, is going to be pretty much identical to this. And if it is, you'll be very, very lucky, because this guitar, I've said it before and I'll say it yet again, the best investment I ever made buying this guitar. This has done every gig pretty much with the Wannabe Shadows. It's been YouTube, it's done solo gigs. It's just great. As I say, this is probably the cheapest guitar in my collection by some way. I think I paid about £300 for it, something along those lines. And as I say, apart from I've changed the, I've got strap lock buttons on it, just for ease of use, but and it's got a heavier block in the back. But as I say, a friend of mine's got the exact same guitar, my friend Stuart, and I've played that, and it's no different to this. His is completely standard, and they are amazing, amazing instruments. If I could just get rid of that silly Simon Neil Biffy Clyro logo on the top. But we can't have it all that way, can we? But yes, no, absolutely, all those. Right, Barry, yes. No, I haven't played Cavatina yet. I should probably do that now. And there's I keep putting it off because I have to read it straight from the tab. I've still not learnt it properly all the way through, but I'll try and do it now. And yes, these are 11 to 49s Elixir strings on this Strat. I've got 10 to 46 Ernie balls on one. I've got 10 to 46 Didarios on another. I always used to use 11 to 49. I now use a mixture of whatever I can find. I did try 13s once and played the guitar for about 10 minutes and put it down and never played it again because it was horrendous. Right, what are we doing? Yes, let's do this. Assuming I can find the tab. Where's that gone? It's definitely here somewhere. Give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I'm sure you probably all are. Yes, I thought I had them here somewhere. John, I've had Kinman pickups on a Strat many years ago. I haven't tried them for a little while. Phil McGarrick uses them, rates them really, really highly. They were just a little bit, they're quite mellow pickups for my liking. I like a little bit more traditional sort of Strat sound, but the noiseless thing is wonderful. And that is one of the best things about them. But, anyway, few queries for this one tonight, and dedicate this to Hank, I suppose, because anyone who saw the interview, he welled up a little bit when when they played this at the event. So here we go. of the theme from the Deer Hunter. Yes, it is a beautiful, beautiful song. Sweet Dreams, Ken. Do you know what? I yet to play that. I did look at the sheet music the other day for that, because I heard a few people do that song recently, and it is a beautiful, beautiful song. But no, I've not played that as yet. I'll try and learn that at some point, I promise. But what have we got? Yes, as I say, the Kinman pickups, I know Hank was using them for a long, long time. I had the Hank modern set that he was using in the mid-90s sort of era. But so I just found them quite mellow. And they just needed a little bit more of a kick to brighten things up. But anyway. But let's do... This is Telstar. Yes, Chubble. Yes, I think the Squire's only recently been out a couple of weeks. It's a limited edition from what I gather. They often do a special run of those guitars. Guitar in the UK actually have two cheaper guitars at the moment. They've got the Fender FSR run, which is Mexican made, I believe, in Fiesta Red with maple neck and gold hardware, but it's got a 2-post trem rather than the 6-post. And then they've got the Squire Classic Vibe as well, which is doing the rounds at the moment. But Paul, yes, my backing tracks are played. No, they're not. This is literally just being used for amp modelling at the moment. But so the backing tracks are coming out the iPad and going into the mixer, and then the guitar's going through the Zoom G3X into the amp, into the mixer. So it then mixes it all together nicely for then when it comes out. But you look after yourself, Barry. Take care. Oh, look, guys, a lot of questions coming in tonight. Brilliant. No, do you know what? I must admit, I've not heard many Spotnik's songs. It was mainly the Shadows that I listened to and sort of copied, and it was that sort of era. Really, for me, the Shadows was the main one. I only really discovered something like Saturday Night at the Duck Pond because the Rapiers played it. And it wasn't until the last few years that I've actually got quite into the sort of instrumental world of music and learnt about all these other bands. So, but I will try and do some Spotnik stuff at some point. What have we got? No, I can read music very, 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 very slowly. I tend to learn a lot of stuff by ear or doing tabs. I either tab them out myself so I don't have to remember them, and then work them out from that way. But there we go. There might be another Q&A with Dave Monk at some point. We might do a remote session because it's been a little while. But we covered quite a lot in the Christmas event. I think it went on about 45 minutes. But he's doing really well. I spoke to him the other day. He was he's doing really well. We exchange messages every now and then, and obviously quite a concerning period at the moment for him. But I've already played Midnight, but I certainly can play Sleepwalk. Let's do that one. I'll do that one now for you. beautiful song called Sleepwalk. Hope you enjoyed that. Right, what have we got? Quartermaster Stores, great song. No, I don't play that one, Clive, unfortunately. I probably will do at some point. I'm playing catch up on a lot of these songs. Keith, no, I've never played any Dwayne Eddy, unfortunately. Iggle Piggle, that's a great song. Do you know what? I had a gentleman come up to me at Shadow Mania a couple of years ago, and he said his granddaughter is literally obsessed with that video, Iggle Piggle in the Night Garden. But Guy, you're throwing some great songs at me tonight. Do you know what? I would love to be able to play all these songs. If I could play all of these, I'd. No, Les, again, I don't have the tab for that as yet, but someone asked me about that the other day, funnily enough. So I'm playing catch up on that as well. I'm trying to do some of the tabs and catch up on some of that stuff, but I will do. I definitely will do. Oh, Wipeout. I'm going to do that one. I definitely am, because we do that in the band, but I don't know where the backing track is for it, but. I'll definitely have to learn that one. Tales of the Raggy Tramline. Again, do you know that was another song, great song, that I recorded for YouTube, and I've never ever revisited it. And it's a little bit frustrating because I really should do. There's a lot of great songs that I think over 250 videos on YouTube now, and I'd love to be able to play them all. I really would, but. Someone mentioned a song earlier, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to do. Someone asked for it a couple of times, so I'm going to do it dedicated to my good friend's daughter, Lauren. This is Foot Tapper. Foot Tapper, and sticking with that film theme. I think it was in one of the films. I'm sure it was Summer Holiday, something like that. Sticking with the film theme anyway. It's a beautiful song, Peace Pipe. Pipe. Kathy, I've just seen your message, and apologies. The two beautiful songs you've mentioned, I don't have the backing track, or can't even remember how to play at the moment. But so apologies. I will definitely try couple of songs I will try and learn for you again. But apologies. It's I'm not able to do those ones tonight. Jeffrey, no, I don't have the Harley Benton any longer. Someone made me an offer that I couldn't refuse, and so it went. To be honest, I wasn't really playing it a lot. I mainly use this, and I think personally, if it was me, for the extra money, I'd still buy a Squire Classic Vibe. I still think Squire Classic Vibe is the best guitar, certainly at that price range, that you can get. In fact, even better than at that price range. I've had Mexican Strats, I've had custom shop Strats, and this is the one that gets used most of the time, as mentioned. It's got been well used, got a massive chunk missing out of it there, but it's a great song. What have we got here? Guys, some great songs coming out. I just saw someone mentioned Massachusetts. David, I've not received an email from you, David, so apologies, not sure what's happened there. But the backing track and tab, that's a long time ago I did that one, and unfortunately the computer I was using at the time crashed and basically lost all of my backing tracks and everything I had. But I think it came from a guy from the Marvingers, and if you search on YouTube for Massachusetts, you'll probably find him, because I think he's still got the backing track, because someone mentioned it not too long ago. So I hope that helps. But right, someone's just asked for Bright Eyes, so I'll always like playing this one. Dedicate this to my my little nephew William. He's probably in bed by now, but There we go, a little bit of Bright Eyes there. Beautiful, beautiful song. But Colin, no, I don't play that one off the tab. I just happen to know that one. I worked it out once, and I've been playing it ever since. But that's something I can probably try and sort out. But right, let's. This is dedicated to all of those people out there who no longer have their dear old dads. Bless them, and in particular my own. Beautiful song. But right, I'm going to do something a bit different now because a couple of people have asked for it, and I did it Sunday evening on the Facebook live stream, and people didn't think it was entirely horrendous. So you have been warned. Turn down now. Ooh, come on, pretty baby, let's move it and groove it. Shake it, baby, shake, but honey, please don't lose it. Rhythm that gets into your heart and soul. Let me tell you, people, it's called rock and roll. They say it's gonna die, but honey, please let's face it. Just don't know what's going to replace it. The ballads and calypsos have got nothing on. Real country music that just drives along. Honey, move it. Pretty baby, let's move it and groove it. Shake 'em, baby, shake, but honey, please don't lose it. It's all over town, there's a brand new beat. It's hanging in the air like a Mississippi heat. Fireflies in the night and bullfrogs croaking. Here come the train, and boy, yes, she's smoking. Heading out from New Orleans and clear to LA. Better get ready, it's a brand new day. Oh, honey, move it. Oh, yeah, move it. Yeah, move it. Go, little bit of move it for you there. Something a bit different. Someone asked for it the other night, and I was trying to work out how to possibly do an instrumental version of Move It, and I thought I wouldn't even attempt it. But no reverb or anything. Sounds that, eh? Right. Someone asked. I've had a couple of requests for this so far, so I better do it, I suppose. It's here somewhere. Spring is nearly here. little bit of spring is nearly here, or spring is nearly gone, the way it's going. But, right. This is a little dedication to Mandy. I know she loves this song, and I think it's her birthday in a week or so, something like that. So, always dedicate this one to Mandy. She's wonderful tonight. Beautiful, beautiful song. But, for all those people having birthdays, there we go. Right, what else forgot? Loads and loads of songs. So a little bit more Cliff, I think. This is Living Doll. Chris, what make of trem system have I got on this guitar? Most of it is standard. The saddles have been changed for Fender saddles. But other than that, that's it. It's also got a bigger block in it as well, but yeah, that's the actual main plate and the arm and everything, as far as I understand, is standard Squire Classic vibe. So I hope that answers your question. No, no, thankfully. That's why I do what I do with this setup. The neighbours can't hear a word, apart from the guitar. I suppose they could probably hear that, that sort of unplugged sound, but and my voice probably. But no, I don't. That's why I have to use it for headphones and stuff like that, and model in and various other things. I've got a Vox AC30, and I would love to crank it up. I really would, but it's not here, unfortunately. It's my mother's. She's kindly looking after for me. It spends most of its life there, to be honest. But let's do this song. This is The Young Ones. So the young ones, dedicated to all of those under the age of 82. But, right, what else we got here? Yes, not done that one yet. Done a few of these actually. Let's do a little bit of Billy Fury, the late great Mr. Billy Fury. Do You Really Love Me Too? Little bit of the late great Mr. Billy Fury. So a lot of wonderful comments coming in. They're coming in so quick. I'm actually missing a lot of them. So apologies if I haven't responded to your comments. But yes, no, there's certainly never been any music quite like this. And yes, it's amazing, Brian, what you say there. I think the Ventures had it pretty sewn up in America, didn't they, around that sort of time? And we had the Shadows. Both great, fantastic bands in their own right. Obviously the Shadows played a few Ventures tracks, Perfidia and a few others, and of course the Ventures played a couple of Shadows tracks, so I think you got a little bit of a cross section of all there. But for me, certainly, I think it will always be the Shadows, just because that's what I grew up on. As I say, Hank and the lads, there'll never be anything like it, certainly. And I think I often wonder if Hank and Bruce and all them ever realise quite what they've achieved and what they started. Here we are 60 years on from when Apache came out, and I've got 82 of you watching this tonight, and we've had nearly 100 people watching this at some point tonight. And there are Shadows clubs all up and down the country in the UK, all over the world, people buying red Stratocasters still 60 years on, and I find that really wonderful. It really is a magical experience. I feel very fortunate to be part of the Shadows community that exists, and it is a wonderful moments. I feel very fortunate to have met Bruce, Brian Bennett, Jet. Sadly never met Tony. Hank and Cliff are still on my to meet list. If anyone is watching this that can arrange that, please get in touch. It would be absolutely wonderful. I'd love to meet Hank and or Cliff and just shake their hand and say thank you so much for all that you've done for a massive part of my life. My life would be very different if it wasn't for this wonderful music. But I'm going to continue now with Dance On. fabulous bit of dance on there. Right, let's do... That would be funny, wouldn't it? So... He's a wonderful... I say Hank. Yeah, obviously being a lead guitar player, it was Hank that inspired me, and above all, Colin Price Jones inspired me as well, probably about as much as Hank did. I actually, a few of you know this story. I actually went to see the Rapiers. In fact, I actually went to see a Brian Lee concert years and years ago. It was an Elvis tribute act who became a very good friend, and I used to go and see Brian Lee and the Leaders performing an Elvis tribute act, among other things. And yeah, so I met. I was at a gig with Brian Lee when I was about that high, about 8, 9 years old, something like that. And the Rapiers were doing a set opening up for Brian. And do you know what? The first time I ever heard them, I was just like, wow. You know, the 3 red guitars, the synchronized steps. If you ever get a chance to see them, they don't do a lot of gigs these days, but if you ever get a chance to see them, the Rapiers are amazing. I feel very fortunate to know the guys, and Colin especially inspired me more than probably as much as Hank did in the early days. He is a wonderful player and a very nice person, and yes, certainly check them out. Trouble, can I hear my mix without my headphones? Can you use that setup to play for a medium-sized party? Yeah, I can do, yes. This little mixer has an output going to these little desk speakers I've got on here, but I could use bigger speakers, PA speakers, and just use that and have this exact same setup with this exact same sound. When I'm here just during the day, I turn these speakers on. I don't use the headphones, but and it sounds pretty much exactly the same. So there we go. But right, this is dedicated to my good friend Stuart Watts, who's probably not listening because he's probably gone to bed. No, it's not that one. No, not that one. It's this one. The Savage. fabulous bit of Savage. Yes, Breakfast at the Ace. Do you know what? The Rapiers, that couple of albums they had were absolutely brilliant. As I say, the Saturday Night at the Duck Pond, I heard them do that before I heard the original, and I always thought it was a Rapiers track. With the synchronised guitars and everything. They really are the best, personally. There's a lot of great tribute acts out there. There's been some wonderful, wonderful tribute acts. Legend were brilliant. The Foot Tappers were brilliant. But the Rapiers for me were always the absolute top pinnacle that we all try to match and never get anywhere near. But right, I'm going to come down to the last couple of songs now tonight, unfortunately, because it's getting very late. It's half 11 already. Gone really, really quick. We're done 2.5 hours tonight. This could be my longest live session ever. But I was only intending to come on for about 2 hours tonight. But hopefully you've all enjoyed yourselves. Hopefully you've enjoyed every track I've played, if not at least 10% of them. So thank you very much. I do appreciate you tuning in, and we'll do this at the same time next week, hopefully. Now everything's all working as it's supposed to. And so there is a little link down below if you would like to make a donation to my charity, St Francis Hospice, who looks after my wonderful dad in his last days. They need all the support they can get at the moment, so anything you can spare, that would be really appreciated. But of course you're under no obligation. This is The Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt. The Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt. And we'll do, let's do this one. Frighten City. in the city. But, yes, absolutely, Ken. I'm missing my monthly guitar clubs. I must try and get down to the Bournemouth one. It's a really good club from what I gather. But right, so I hope you've enjoyed what I've done tonight. But I'm going to do this one for you now. This is the one I played on Britain's Got Talent, A Wind Beneath My Wings. There we go, the song that I performed on Britain's Got Talent. Yes, Brian, I was in Britain's Got Talent 2014. That song I did, it was an arrangement a friend of mine did because the backing track had to be under 2 minutes long. I think that was something like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They don't give you very long on that show, but thankfully, thanks to David Williams, they let me continue. But the rest of them didn't like it. Yes, it is on YouTube, unfortunately, for all my for all my sins. As I say, Simon Cowell didn't like it. Amanda Holden and can't remember the other lady's name. They didn't like it. Alicia Dixon, they didn't like it. They started talking halfway through the song. But David Williams and the audience loved it. So what can I say? Dedicated to my dear old dad. And now I'm definitely going to finish on this last one. This is The Wonder of You. Thank you very much, all. Take care. This same time next week, if there's enough of you who are still interested. Stay safe. Take care. Give us a like, thumbs up. Steve Reynolds Guitarist, Instagram, Facebook, various. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Stay safe. Bye for now. More. I can hear you shout more. Okay, well, I'll do one more then. I'll do one more. This is the song that Shadows always ended on, and I'm going to do the same. This is FBI. Thank you very much. Good night.